Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back again as always with your co-host, Chris Coulson. Christopher, almost travel time for you.
Almost travel time, yeah.
Gonna be heading up North Carolina way.
North Carolina, yes, sir. Tar Heel State.
Go see the family.
Yes, sir.
Traveling the big fart box in the sky.
The Aero Bus. I hope I get, so since I've traveled during coronavirus times, I've had two sets of travel, like, limitations, let's say. One plane was completely full. That sucked. Hated that. Hated every second of it. The other plane, like, every other row was sectioned off, and I had my row all to myself. Really hoping for that one.
Ooh, that's not gonna happen.
Nah, I don't think it is either.
No. You're gonna be in the fart box with
I mean, it is Tuesday.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like this whole week's just going to be chaos in the airports with people, like, trying to work, like, oh, it's Tuesday, we can get in a little early, and, at least it's not Wednesday or Thursday. But I think it's just going to be chaos.
Okay.
We'll see.
I appreciate your optimism. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is it, though. It's your Thanksgiving special in the year of our Lord 2020, the worst calendar year on record in my relatively short lifetime thus far, bar none. And my parents got divorced, and I went to jail a whole bunch in the year 2007, and that shit was way easier. So what is there to be thankful for in a year full of so much chaos and confusion? Today, we're going to explore that conundrum together in an effort to bring more perspective to the close of this year from hell. Speaking of which, RBP 352 is brought to you by one of our newest sponsors, NuCalm. Stress, sleep, recovery, whether we're in the gym or at work, these things shape how we perform. I know I am never even close to my potential productivity without good sleep and enough sleep. And I'm way more sharp when Coles and I are in the gym hitting RossFit on schedule. So on the physical side of things, I've got it going right now. But mentally, I needed more tools. So one thing I've added to my daily routine this year, and it's helped make a noticeable difference for me, is NuCalm. It's stress relief for the way we live today. Technology to help you disconnect. NuCalm is an all-natural, comprehensive three-part system which is administered in seconds and takes effect in minutes. The benefits will last for hours, so you can own the day. You just slap the NuCalm biosignal processing disc on your wrist. You open the NuCalm mobile app, you connect your headphones or earbuds, start your NuCalm session in the NuCalm app, pull down your NuCalm eye mask, sit back, relax, and enjoy your NuCalm journey. It's imperative to your health and happiness to be able to manage stress and not to be managed by it. NuCalm gives you the power and control to relax and recharge anywhere, anytime. You can own the day. NuCalm is the only stress management system of its kind, clinically proven in over 1 million sessions to improve your sleep, reduce your stress, and boost your recovery without drugs, without side effects. So, the NuCalm system uses cutting-edge neuroscience, consists of 3 non-invasive, non-pharmaceutical items, all of which are included in your monthly subscription that costs less than a daily cup of coffee. The whole process is easy to use, to work into your daily routine, to achieve better sleep, reduction in stress, and boost in recovery. Do what I did, own the day with NuCalm. We have a special link set up specifically for the RBP gang. You go to rossnucalm.com and get 50% off your 30-day subscription of NuCalm and their money-back guarantee when you go to rossnucalm.com. That's rossnucalm, rossnucalm.com. Now time for some announcements and shouts. First of all, forgot to mention this when we were talking about Fleet the other day, but according to producer Myrriah, Fleet is also the name of a popular enema in the LGBTQ plus community.
Huh. That's thrilling.
Huge for that enema company.
I'm not going to lie.
I wonder if Twitter was aware of this. That's the thing. They had to discuss it like, yo, there's an enema. It's super popular. Are we cool with that being a similarity?
Yo, excuse my uncultured swineness here. Is an enema something that goes up the front hole or the back hole?
It's the back hole.
Back hole, okay.
It's for to clear out your colon.
Oh.
Yeah, so like when I went to get a colonoscopy scheduled at one point several years ago, they gave me like the prep sheet for when you come in, right? They're like, they were scheduling the appointment. They're like, you're coming in 2 weeks, and here's the prep sheet for what you do the night before, the day before, the hour before, whatever.
Yeah, you're their 5-star athlete. They're giving you the nutrition list to get in shape for training camp.
Well, but it's more like, here's the enema you go by and stick up your bunghole to shit out everything in your body so that we can do a successful colonoscopy. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. And that's just me.
So you just didn't do it?
I'd already taken, this grown man's fingers up my ass that day. I just felt like that was enough.
Okay.
That was enough for me.
Fair, yeah.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
So
Still thriving?
now, that being said, if your doctor recommends you get a colonoscopy, get a colonoscopy. It's preventative. Do it. Also, President Trump retweeted Randy Quaid 5 times this morning in similar news. For a fun time, go to Randy Quaid's Wikipedia page and read the legal troubles section. You may remember Randy Quaid from such films as Independence Day, where he plays the alcoholic, psychotic uncle of, the white trash family trying to save the world in conjunction with Will Smith and the the First Lady. That movie was nuts in hindsight.
Yeah. The first time I saw... Go ahead.
No, you first.
The first time I ever saw Independence Day was at a Halloween party when I was like 6, and they had it on a projection screen, and it scared the shit out of me, bro.
Yeah, that's a scary movie
terrifying.
for a 6-year-old, dude.
Well,
Aliens are scary as hell when you're 6, dude. E.T. traumatized me.
Well, you know what fucking scene was the first one that I saw, dude?
Huh.
When they're in the laboratory and the alien like starts possessing them and shit.
Oh man,
dude, it was over at that point. So like for 10 years. Yes, exactly. For 10 years, I literally never watched Independence Day because I thought it was like a legit horror movie the entire way through. And then I watched it and I was like, wait, this is
Think about this
tight.
shit. My childhood, I'm traumatized by E.T., the cuddly little 3-foot-tall alien that looks like a fucking stuffed animal. 12 years later, Coles has to watch fucking Independence Day with full Predator-style aliens getting punched in the face by Will Smith and possessing scientists to make them say, "Release me."
Yeah.
Anyway, Randy Quaid is fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. The fact that a sitting president of the United States not only retweeted Randy Quaid, but retweeted him 5 consecutive times, one quote tweet included, is hysterical.
You want to know how I know this man's crazy? If you Google somebody and the pictures that come up, none of them have the same hairstyle, they have to be fucking crazy.
Also,
if
just go read that legal troubles section. It's fucking unreal.
If you can't stick with the same look, like at least for like a good 2-3 year period, you have to be fucking nuts. You're searching for something, dude. Something's missing.
Randy Quaid. Anyway, had to get that in there. It's time now for our first segment. What Thanksgiving means to us. So as I said at the top of the show, this year has been complicated, confusing. It's been chaotic. And in a year like 2020, we gain a new perspective for Thanksgiving. Many of us are probably stopping for the first time to even think about what the holiday means for the first time, maybe as a result of not being able to enjoy family and friends like you have every other year of your life, or maybe the things you've seen and experienced this year have just inspired you to stop taking certain things for granted. I've got my own set of reasons that this Thanksgiving is different for me, just like all of you have your list. And before we dive into what Thanksgiving means to Chris and I individually, I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of things here. And it's basically the story of the first Thanksgiving as we've been taught it and have come to know it in history class in America, in the United States, and sort of the one we all, the fantastical version that's in all of our children's books and that we like to think of when we think of the historical context of Thanksgiving. And then, of course, the controversy surrounding that historical context and some of the more accurate claims regarding what actually occurred between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. And then, more importantly, like, none of that really plays into how I feel about the holiday as a whole, ever, really. You know what I'm saying? When I'm with my family and friends on Thanksgiving, I can't even recall the last time I thought about, like, man, it's really great that those Pilgrims and Native Americans got together and celebrated that day. Like, that doesn't even have anything to do with it for me.
Yeah,
right?
I don't look at Thanksgiving as like a
No, not of that. Not of like the historical context of America.
They came over and started America or something like that.
Now, I get that for a lot of people, that's still a part of it, or a big part of it, or in some cases, I'm sure a huge part of it, or a main part of it. But that's never really been like, my family,
hopefully.
Listen, when I was a little kid, they had us trace our hand and make it into a turkey and shit like that, and they taught us about the Pilgrims and made us wear funny hats, and we dressed up like Pilgrims sometimes and stuff, which in hindsight was a little weird. But we never, once I was, a teenager, we never, talked about the history of Thanksgiving ever again. Not a single time. We talked about what we're thankful for in our current lives, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In terms of a holiday.
That's what you'd be looking for, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to reference something, and this is important to put some context in here. Producer Myrriah, who's producing our show today, she gets to see our rundown, obviously, before the show begins, so she can be appraised of where we are and so she can keep up with what we're doing. And she happened to note, like, yo, this, you're reading the History Channel version of what happened on Thanksgiving, and there's obviously a lot of controversy surrounding that. And it's funny because, like, I scrolled down further on this History Channel version of Thanksgiving, and then they've got their section, Thanksgiving Controversies, which probably should be rotated from the bottom to the top if I get to give some critiques to the people who run the History Channel website. But we're going to start there because that's the first place you should start. And it's I'm just going to read you a section here. Some Native Americans and many others take issue with how the Thanksgiving story is presented to the American public, and especially to school children. In their view, the traditional narrative paints a deceptively sunny portrait of relations between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people. Please be correct. My apologies if it's not correct pronunciation. Masking the long and bloody history of conflict between Native Americans and European settlers that resulted in the death of tens of thousands. Since 1970, protesters have gathered on the day designated as Thanksgiving at the top of Coles Hill, which overlooks Plymouth Rock, to commemorate a national day of mourning. Similar events are held in other parts of the country. Producer Myrriah threw up a website link here. It's UAINE.org, which I'm now looking at to figure out what it is. Oh, it's United American Indians of New England, and this is the place they live stream their National Day of Mourning event, I guess you would call it. And for anybody who's looking for more information about that, that's where you can find it.
Or just ask me, since it's on my hill.
It's also on Coles Hill. No, Coles. There's an apostrophe in there as well. But obviously, that is very important to keep in mind as we kind of go through what then is the more mainstream, as they put it, sunny, deceptively sunny version of Thanksgiving. And this is even a whittled down version from what they used to teach us in school. Like, way whittled down compared to, like, how sunny, again, hashtag sunny, they tried to make it. So,
wait, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I start with what, like, this is what before you say, like, what this says. The story that I was taught originally.
Yeah, if you just pulled it straight from memory.
Straight from memory.
What happened on Thanksgiving?
What happened on Thanksgiving, so some pilgrims came over from England to escape religious persecution from the Church of England. Started colony. Colony was failing because they didn't know how to farm on the sandy soil of New England. So then a bunch of people died. Yeah, they were idiots, basically. A bunch of people died. Then the really nice Indians that they were friends with came over. Sorry, I should say Native Americans. The really nice Native Americans they were friends with.
Even when I was a little kid, man.
It was taught to me as Indians. But the Pilgrims and Indians was said, like, all the time.
Which is not that long ago. It's
not
weird,
at all.
And that's weird.
For me, even less time.
Yeah.
The Native Americans came over out of the kindness of their hearts and taught them how to farm with corn and fish and that. Remember that? They built the little mounds with, like, corn, fish, and something else so that the plants would grow. And then to celebrate, because everybody was now living happily and communal.
Because everyone was saved.
Because everyone was saved from the farms.
Everyone was saved.
They had a big old feast and lived happily ever after.
Yeah, it was fucking dope. And then America was born.
And then America happened. Yeah,
that was essentially what they taught us, though. They were like, look, these people came over for a very legitimate reason. They were being persecuted religiously. And they found this other place, this other land. And there were some folks there already. And unfortunately, Whitey, he couldn't farm. So he had to get Brownie to help him. And then everyone was fine. And they had a celebratory dinner. That was it.
Yeah.
That was basically the story we were told. It was like, oh, word, that's tight. That seems like a perfectly legitimate reason to have a national holiday celebrating the prosperous founding of the United States or whatever.
Sure.
It was just like, that was as far as my little white mind needed to go.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, too. And then it's like, I really didn't start hearing about the historical inaccuracies and the controversies surrounding the version of Thanksgiving that we were all taught growing up in public schools, I might add, too. Although I will say, the sunny version I got in private school, pre-high school, was even sunnier.
Oh, really?
Like, they took that shit. Rich people take it even further level. They're like, man, everybody's so well clothed and clean and shit and happy, and there's, like, no death at all, ever.
It's like nobody ever died. They came. It was just like this beautiful.
They were just like, look, we need some help with these fucking potatoes.
Society.
Yeah, we need some help with these potatoes. That's that. That was the whole thing. And you don't really hear about any of that other stuff till you get older, till you're like in high school or up into college. Really, college being the first place where you're exposed to more free thinking because you've got people actually with fully matured brains running around, right? Some of them. I wasn't one of them, unfortunately, but it came later, I think, sort of. But yeah, so here's the sunny version that History, and seriously, the History Channel, which I don't know what the History Channel is owned by now that I'm thinking about it in terms of like slant or whatever you want to, however you want to put it, but it's just interesting to me that this is literally from the History Channel. In September 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers, an assortment of religious separatists seeking a new home where they could freely practice their faith, and other individuals lured by the promise of prosperity and land ownership in the New World. After a treacherous and uncomfortable crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, far north of their intended destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. 1 month later, the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Pilgrims, as they are now commonly known, began the work of establishing a village at Plymouth. Throughout the first brutal winter, most of the colonists remained on board the ship. And again, this is crazy to me. 102 of them, right? 102 of them. That's a very, very small amount of people.
That is a tiny amount of people.
And it's all these religious separatists and then random people who are like, fuck it, I need a new start, and this sounds like it might be it. And it's hell getting over here. They land in the wrong spot. They got no fucking clue where they are or what they're doing.
The soil is significantly sandier and drier than they've ever farmed anywhere before.
And then winter comes.
Yeah. They land in what? What did it say they land in? September? November? Like, they land, like, right before winter.
Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure.
Doesn't matter.
But they did land.
They land at some point.
On Plymouth Rock.
And winter does come every year at some point.
In this case, Plymouth Rock did not land on them.
That's probably...
So they hit winter.
I don't know if they would have made it if that was the case.
Most of these crackers stay on the ship, right? Because they don't know what the fuck to do.
Because they're lame.
They're dying out there on the land. They suffered from exposure, scurvy, and outbreaks of contagious disease. Again, things are going horribly, horribly awry. Only half of the Mayflower's original passengers and crew lived to see their first New England spring. So this squad barely even fucking makes it.
Which, okay, take this into consideration. Like, I went to a public school where, like, I had on average 30 kids in each class, right? So throughout the day, I had 4 classes a day. So I saw like 120 classmates a day. That would be like if out of 120 of those classmates, the next like semester I came back from winter break, only 60 of them are left.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of fucking people died. 1 and 2. That's crazy.
Yeah. So then in March, the remaining people, they move ashore. They're like, well, this isn't working. Staying on the boats. Half of us are dead. Where they received an astonishing visit from an Abenaki?
Let me look.
Abenaki? Native American, either way, who greeted them in English. Several days later, he returned with another Native American, Squanto, which is one that we were definitely taught about.
Definitely
a member
taught
of the
about Squanto.
I'm going to butcher all of these tribes, phrasing, and it's not good. I can't say any of these Native American words. He had been kidnapped by an English sea captain and sold into slavery before escaping to London and returning to his homeland on an exploratory expedition. So this guy's been through the shit already. And then this is the part where it gets really hazy about truth, fact, fiction, all the inaccuracies that we've been told. Like, a lot of these guys that they brought, or the Native Americans who were at Thanksgiving, the OG Thanksgiving as we know it, they didn't come by choice. They weren't like, hey, we want to help. Like, there was a lot of force being used here in the telling of it as we've now come to know it, more historically accurate telling as I guess I would put it. So Squanto, who's super, super famous, obviously, and this is one of the dudes that they taught us about when I was a little kid. He taught them how to cultivate corn, extract sap from maple trees, catch fish in the rivers, and avoid poisonous plants. Also helped the settlers forge an alliance with one of the local tribes, which would endure for more than 50 years and tragically remains one of the sole examples of harmony between European colonists and Native Americans, which is a pretty telling line. One of the sole examples of harmony between European colonists and Native Americans, which, again, when you put that into like the grand scheme of things, it's not so sunny. Not so sunny at all. In November 1621, the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful, and Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast and invited a group of the fledgling colony's Native American allies, including the Wampanoag chief, and now it's remembered as the first Thanksgiving. Although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at the time, The festival lasted for 3 days. While no record exists of the first Thanksgiving's exact menu, much of what we know about what happened at the first Thanksgiving comes from Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow. Very important piece of the puzzle there.
Where does your information come from?
History being written by the victors is something that we have come to know as an issue over the course of the age of information, I would say. In the age of technology and the internet, we have become all too familiar with the fact that history being written by the victors is problematic for receiving accurate history. And in this case, as they put it, much of what we know about what happened at the first Thanksgiving comes from Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow. So that's...
And also you have to think, too, these were financed excursions as well. So, like, when they had to, like, document and write back, they obviously would want to make themselves look as good as possible and make things sound as good as possible.
Things are going swimmingly. We haven't had to slaughter anyone. No
We've made
one's being
friends
forced
with
to help us.
with the
It's
natives.
all... We're
They've
just
been
crushing
helping
it.
us out. We're crushing life. There's nothing to worry about over
if you're
here.
reporting back to your boss...
Definitely don't send the English military after us to come check on us. I promise you we're good.
Yeah.
We got this handled.
Please,
you know what I mean?
Please leave us alone. Yeah, exactly. Historians have suggested that many of the dishes were likely prepared using traditional Native American spices and cooking methods because the Pilgrims had no oven and the Mayflower's sugar supply had dwindled by the fall of 1621. The meal did not feature pies, cakes, or other desserts, which had become a hallmark of contemporary celebrations. So beyond the fact that they probably didn't eat any of the things we eat, and that probably little of the things that we were taught actually occurred in the way that we were taught them, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what is the point, right, of Thanksgiving? And that's where I get back to what we sort of talked about at the top of the segment, that it's not obviously it is easy for me as a white guy in the United States who learned the whitewashed version of this history to say that the historical context is not the thing that I focus on. It's not the thing that's been important to me in my life as a celebration of Thanksgiving. I realize that there are many, many people to whom that historical context is extremely important, in particular those who were here before Whitey showed up and decided he wanted to have another place to get freedom of religion, which then somehow, it's one of the most confusing things about the United States forming, that we then tied one religion, Christianity, into all of the stuff we did. It really doesn't make sense, considering the whole point of the country was to get away from religious persecution. It's just odd. I think anybody, even those of you who are practicing Christians, can admit that. So for me, Thanksgiving has always been about taking time to stop and think about all the blessings you have in life. That's sort of what my parents, my grandparents taught me the point of the holiday was. So one of the traditions that we had, for example, on my mom's side of the family, you know, we would oftentimes not every Thanksgiving, but a lot of them, just kind of, there was circumstances, I guess, that dictated when we did and didn't do this. Everybody would go around the table and each person would say something they were thankful for. Then my papa would say like a Thanksgiving prayer, and then we would eat. And that was like, it tied in. You know, again, we didn't recite or go back over the original Thanksgiving story. We didn't bust out like some child Thanksgiving book to read, like none of that. It wasn't like, and what I mean is there's a stark difference between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like Christmas, very much all the stories and all of the lore and Santa, and then obviously the story of the birth of Jesus and all these different religious aspects, they're all tied very heavily into the way that I celebrate Christmas and that my family celebrates Christmas, whereas Thanksgiving was totally void of that. It was just about, and it really was void of, other than the prayer before the meal, was really void of like a religious tie-in. I mean, it was just general thankfulness for friends, family, work, opportunity, health, and most importantly, happiness. And to stop and pause to regain perspective in a crazy world filled with distractions and a never-ending stream of new distractions springing up constantly now in this day and age. And there's also, Coles, for me, before we get to what it means for you too, there's like a tie-in to appreciating the human body and like
Sure.
the way we feed it and provide it with nutrients via food. It's like a day to
Nourishment.
appreciate food and grub.
Absolutely. That's one thing I really do like. Growing up in a very Christian family, that's one thing I really appreciate about the Christian pre-eating prayer is the appreciation of nourishment and the hands that prepared it, et cetera, et cetera. And like, because I mean, I think I talked about it once before on the show. My senior thesis in high school was about how like food plays such a vital role in societal importance and cultural importance, how so many things that we do are surrounded by or have to do with food. Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner,
I want to throw
Easter dinner.
a shout out in there to CK Chen, who's been a guest on our show a couple different times. And then one of the first couple times he was on here, he spoke to, just Google Ross Bolen Podcast, CK Chen.
This is one of the reasons why CK is always one of my favorite guests.
He spoke to that, and it's sort of his drive for why he does what he does as a restaurateur.
It's a gift.
He loves hosting. He loves providing people with nourishment, with food, with taking care of them, and it's sort of the way he's built out his whole life.
Almost intimate feeling to be able to prepare something that like if you can make a delicious dish, you're not only providing somebody with nourishment, but you're providing them with full sensual enjoyment, like smell, touch, taste, all of the above, like sight. Like you're involving all of somebody's senses to give them the full experience of enjoyment. And like basically in that case, if you prepared the meal for them, like that is all from you. And so it's a very intimate kind of thing in that you can provide that for somebody else.
And when you have like, you know, so for me growing up, to speak to that for a second, we had my grandma on my dad's side.
Yeah.
Who would do, we would do Thanksgivings at both sides' grandparents' house, okay? My mom's parents and my dad's parents, but the bigger one growing up, because I had many cousins on my dad's side, was at my grandma's house. And so she would provide, her and my grandpa when I was much younger, you know, it's like a 5-course meal with fucking all these different insane foods and desserts. And that was like, they were the leaders of the family providing the rest of the family with this meal, right? In an effort to give everybody the opportunity to do all the things I just spoke to. That was and then the same thing on my mom's side with my Mimi and Papa. So it's like the leaders of the family putting on this meal to sort of give everybody that chance to stop, pause, and reflect.
Absolutely.
That was sort of the setup.
Because especially on Thanksgiving too, it's so, I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up in a family where like our Thanksgiving meals, we always had, you know, tons of food on the table. I grew up in a Southern family, so my Nana would make mashed potatoes that were always excellent. You know, my granddad would bring another dish that was always fantastic. My mom's an excellent cook, so she would cook fantastic side dishes. My dad would do the turkey. It would always be delicious. So we always had all this excellent food on the table, and it's a sense of like you have so much of everything that you could ever need surrounding you at that exact moment that it really is a chance where like your stress can just kind of fade off your shoulders for that evening, and you can really just like relax and appreciate what you have around you.
Which, let me add, I have so much respect for people who volunteer their time and service during holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas
to provide
to give an experience to others who don't have it. Because I know a lot of people who have taken time over the years to volunteer at either shelters or wherever they were needed to provide meals, care, and help and hope to people during holidays like Thanksgiving, during holidays like Christmas. My mom used to have us go participate in the Christmas version of providing a dinner to the homeless in Houston at Second Baptist Church, and it was just like a really meaningful experience for me the 1 or 2 times that we went and did that, or however many times we went and did that. And I know still as an adult that there are people who go and put their energy and effort toward making sure others feel cared for during holidays like this, and I think that is the most rewarding thing you can possibly do with your time and energy and effort during a holiday season, whether or just year round, really. But what better opportunity than Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holiday season to go out and give back, right? So, no, you're spot on. It's funny, you know, we basically get a little fucked up and we eat the best foods we have access to, right? That's what Americans do on Thanksgiving. We get a little fucked up. Some of us get really fucked up, and we eat the best stuff we have access to, whatever that means based on your family and where you are in the hierarchy of our economy or whatever the fuck. Which brings me to a question, because you mentioned, you know, and we have to do a segment on our top 5 Thanksgiving foods.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to ask this question first. Why isn't steak a Thanksgiving food? It seems like when you think of like if you were going to have a celebratory meal, right? Like an anniversary or a wedding or a New Year's Eve dinner or whatever the fuck. You think a steak, right? Mm-hmm. One of the finer foods you can enjoy as a man. It's a meat.
Yeah.
it's kind of weird that on Thanksgiving, like, I get it, the reasons behind the turkey or whatever the fuck, but, like, turkey's all right. But I mean, like, I make a turkey sandwich on a damn Tuesday in July. Like, I don't need, turkey isn't, like, I'm not stoked on turkey. Like, now you give me the dark meat and the stuff to put on top of it, and suddenly I'm hard. But it just generally, turkey's not something that gets me excited. Steak is.
If I had to guess, I would bet that it has something to do with at the time of year in which Thanksgiving falls.
No, I thought you were going to say genocide. I'm glad
it is
wasn't
easier to get turkey than it is to get steak, or cheaper, or more efficient, or turkey feeds more, or it's too expensive to feed a large group of people with all steak, or something like that. I bet there's something that has to do with that. Because I know turkey wasn't part of the first menu on Thanksgiving. That's talked about all the time. It's a common misconception.
Yeah.
So, like, at some point, somebody was like, nah, we're going with turkey.
Turkey.
But I don't know why.
Some
I don't know, though. Like,
some
honestly,
people
like, we
then
usually
we
do...
need a turducken.
Okay, I was going to get to turducken later.
What
I was
is
going to
that?
get to turducken.
Oh,
You don't know what it is?
We can get to it then. No, we'll talk about it later.
We'll get to it later.
Okay.
Also, quick aside, just got the email to check in for my flight. Do I pay the $80 to upgrade to first class?
I don't know.
I don't
How
think
many
I do.
people are in first class?
Probably like 6,
How long is the flight?
2.5 hours.
Mm,
It's like right on the edge where I'm like kind of considering it.
I mean,
And like usually it's like another $250 to do first class.
what's the cost of the flight before first class?
I think it was like $220.
I'd say no.
Alright.
But
going no.
that's just based on the ratio.
I think I'm going no as well.
Because that's like you're adding like a third.
Well, maybe I'll do first class coming home to get soft, you know?
There you
I don't
go.
think I need to do first class right now. I'm
There
feeling
you go.
soft already.
Yeah, because on the
I'm
way there
drinking
you
a
got
beer.
something to look forward to.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
the way back, you're going to be coming back to work and like, I don't know. Not that Austin sucks, but back to reality, back to real life is always the hard one. So you take the first class the way home.
Yeah, I'm about that.
And you just sell your body for an extra $80 while you're back in NC because you're going to be coming back here anyway. Nobody's going to know. What?
Wow. Okay.
What were you saying?
No, it's
Appreciating
okay.
the
We can keep moving.
human body?
We can keep moving.
Speaking of food, how do I transition to RBP 352 is also brought to you by Axon. Protecting your family is a number one priority, right? But everybody wants to do it safely. The people at Taser believe that safer self-defense is better self-defense. Taser's line of non-lethal self-protection devices are small and lightweight enough to carry with you or in your glove compartment or purse, yet powerful enough to incapacitate an attacker. Guns carry unnecessary risks for you and those around you, and even pepper spray can harm you as much as an attacker, and it's often ineffective. Taser products are safer and easy to use. They use an electrical charge to immobilize attackers for up to 30 seconds, allowing you time to escape and send emergency dispatch to your GPS location. That's the coolest part. When you have to fire your taser, it immediately calls 911. Emergency dispatch is sent to your GPS location. It's awesome. They come fully loaded with features like laser-assisted targeting and emergency dispatch, which will send a response team to your GPS location upon firing. They got more than 237,000 lives that have been saved with the Taser network of devices, apps, and personnel. And now you can own a Taser, the number one choice of law enforcement agencies. Protect yourself and your family with their line of smart self-defense products by going to Taser.com and using the promo code Ross. Get the Taser Pulse Plus or Taser Strike Light at Taser.com with promo code Ross and save 15% now. 15% off when you go to Taser.com, promo code Ross. Restrictions apply. See site for details. And there you have it, our self-defense sponsor, Axon.
I'm going to use that to protect my body when I sell myself when I get home to get first class coming back. Thank
Boom.
you, Axon.
Taser.com, promo code Ross. And now it's time for our next segment. Top 5 Thanksgiving dishes. Coles, let's talk about our favorite Thanksgiving dishes with great bias and rank our top 5.
Okay, let's do it.
We just had a discussion that started some food talk.
Sure.
The turducken was
Yes,
mentioned.
It was mentioned.
We said we would discuss later. I would like that later to be now.
You'd like the later to be now.
Is turducken on your top 5?
It is not on my top 5. Turducken was actually one of the unusual foods across America that is consumed on Thanksgiving. However, we can get to the turducken now. You do know what a turducken is, correct?
It's a turkey and a duck and a chicken, right?
It's a chicken inside of a duck, which is then inside of a turkey. And then it is all baked together with seasoning layered between each layer so that when you slice it, you can have turkey duck chicken.
You know, and I get it. Like, I get it.
Okay.
Like, I get it.
Okay.
But the first thing that pops into my head is the question of, like, how do they get the turkey inside of the chicken inside of the duck?
Well, it's
and
born
it's like
that way.
the bottle. It's like the ship in the bottle thing.
It's born that way. So they raise the chicken, and then, well, they plant the egg inside of the duck at birth, right?
Right. So, okay, so there's a duck to start.
Yes.
They stick the chicken egg up the duck.
Yes, exactly. And then as the duck progresses through life, the chicken develops inside of him, growing nicely within the cavity of the stomach, so it fills perfectly, right?
Just
It has about a month. You're then putting the duck basically on a time bomb, okay? Because it can't eat anymore because it's got a chicken inside of it
Sure.
eating. Yeah, of course, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Goes without saying.
at that point, once that month is up, you find your turkey of choice on your turkey hunt, and once you've killed said turkey, that is when you stuff said duck inside said turkey, and then you bake all of them together.
Voila.
Turducken.
Turducken.
My granddad used to bring turduckens to every Thanksgiving when I was younger.
And again, I ask, like, I get it, but a lot of effort. Why not just make a steak? What happened? Like, why did we go
You know, I'm not
so
gonna lie.
far into the combining of 3 different birds? And
So
what is that noise that thing makes? Because, like, Chris, what noise does a duck make?
Quack?
Quack, that's
Yeah.
right. What noise does a turkey make? And what noise does a chicken make?
Yep.
So what would all 3 of those together make? Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, no, that's not gonna. I don't want that noise. That's not what I want to be woke up by. And where's the rooster? No respect for the rooster.
The rooster is a chicken, bro.
Who's out
It's
there
just-
waking us up every morning?
It's an adult chicken.
Goddamn
you
nature's
got
alarm clock.
We have so much respect for the rooster that we don't put it in the turducken.
The chicken, dude. What a basic ass bird.
Okay, but what you do, though, you season all the different layers and stuff like that. It's actually quite delicious.
The turkey is
Don't knock it
fucking
too-
beautiful.
And
I'll say that. A
sometimes-
full-blown and grown living turkey.
Well, they're butter faces.
Yeah, they got the weird faces, but they're attractive animals.
You know wild turkeys can
beautiful.
fly?
Don't they have like? Can't they sneaky fly or something like real fast or some
yeah.
shit?
No,
Can't
not
even
really
I
fast,
can't
but
Google wild turkey because it just takes me to goddamn Matthew McConaughey commercials trying to get me to drink whiskey.
oh yeah, that kind of ruined wild turkeys, didn't it?
Wild turkey.
I was
flight
walking through the
speed.
woods one time in Boone, up in the mountains of North Carolina, and we walked past a herd of wild turkeys, and they just took off, and I was like, "What the hell? Never seen anything like it. It's crazy."
This says livescience.com says that some accounts say they can soar up to 55 miles per hour for short bursts.
Oh well, good lord, bro! If a turkey hits you going 55, you're done. That's life.
I mean,
sorry,
when
bro.
they're in flight, dude, they look like just regular ass monster birds, like a gigantic fucking hawk or some shit. Like, but then when they're down, chilling, they've just the way their feathers are built out. That plumage, I think #plumage, is that what they call it?
Yeah, they do got some
It's
plumage on
just
them.
fucking beautiful.
Well, also they got that chest on them. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, weed cough. You want to pet them?
You got the peck. They got pecs. You know, they got a big old
Breasts.
chest on them.
Big barrel chest of fur, and they're just built like you want to give one a bath and see what it would look like wet.
Almost the national bird.
Almost was. We went from that to we were like, well, this one's fat, slow, lame. It's actually
Not slow.
Turns out it's not. But then they were like, and this one soars through the air and murders everything. Let's get the eagle. That makes way
Yeah.
more sense.
Westward. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't what you're looking for, though. It needs to work on the face.
Yeah,
maybe a little
facially
bit.
they look a lot like the Uruk-hai orcs from Lord of the Rings.
Ah.
They're fucked up.
They're a little
They just
fucked
look
up.
like they've been through some type of nuclear catastrophe
That is
facially.
kind of. How does that, like, evolutionary? How do we get to this?
Maybe it was like, look how ugly I am, don't eat me.
Yeah,
You know?
I'll take that. Yeah,
Look
less
at my
meat,
hideous face. Keep your paws off me.
less meat on the face. Maybe that was like the old Velociraptor face that just like never evolved.
Whenever a stranger tries to approach me in public, I try to make the most hideous face I can at them in an
Sure.
effort to emulate the turkey's vibes. Stay the fuck away from me.
So
by
they'll
the way.
eat you. Oh,
Also, because we're talking turkey, that video of Trump joking around about that turkey, like last Thanksgiving or whenever, that refused to
2018?
concede that
Yeah.
that was the funniest shit. Thank
yeah,
you,
that was
Twitter.
pretty funny.
Wouldn't have seen that without Twitter. Twitter, my spot. Okay, back to foods, though. I'm going to throw out some of my faves,
All right, let's
and
do
then
it.
I'm going to rank them. No, I'm just going to rank them from the get-go, from the start-ski. My number one Thanksgiving food is stuffing. And here's the thing about that being my number one that's strange. I realize that there are different kinds of stuffing, and I'm not familiar with them all. Like, I don't know which one it is that I'm getting served up at my grandma's house versus my Mimi's. I know they're different.
Describe it. Like, are we talking like small little bread? Like, do you slice it out of a pan or do you scoop it?
You scoop.
Okay, so it's a little more dry stuffing?
Yes.
Okay. Do you put gravy on your stuffing then?
Yes.
Because it's a little more of a dry stuffing.
Yes.
Sausage.
Not sure.
Celery.
Like adding it on top?
No.
Or
Like
it's in there?
In the stuffing.
That's the thing.
Okay.
I've never really known what all was in there.
It doesn't even matter, honestly. It's kind of better
It's
to
just
not know.
delicious.
Yeah. It's like meatloaf. Like, I don't know what's in it, but I love it.
I always just assumed that meatloaf was like just mashed up meat, though, right?
Well, I mean, they do other things.
Is there other stuff in
I
there?
think there's other stuff in there. Yeah, it's like
For real?
Yeah.
See, this is one of the things
You
about
don't need to know this, though. You
like,
don't want to know. Like, who knows?
It's weird as hell being a Thanksgiving enthusiast and connoisseur without any ability to cook anything beyond basic chicken that is half seasoned to everyone's horror and disbelief. Like,
allegedly half
it
seasoned.
is very strange for me because I'm oftentimes like, it's almost like, you don't want to take drugs from a drug dealer you don't know. You don't know who made this batch of whatever. Hypothetically, in Texas, unfortunately, those are the only drugs we can do, drugs from dealers that we don't know. But it's like that. Like, you wouldn't eat a food you didn't know what it was, right? But no, I do it all the time, constantly. I had meatloaf like a week and a half ago.
And it was delicious from HelloFresh. Thank you, HelloFresh.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I know there was other shit in it. It wasn't just meat. There was some loaf.
Yeah, and onions and like they mix it up in there. So they get the nice little spice to it a little bit.
Shouts to people who can cook.
Yeah,
shouts to all
Meatloaf.
y'all. Y'all are great. Y'all are the best. Thanks for keeping us all fed and happy, because I don't know if it was up to me, we'd all be fucked. Thanksgiving would be like, look, we got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Honey Bunches of Oats, and some Cheerios. We got 2 different kinds of milk. We got an almond milk. We got a 2%. You can make a bowl of cereal. We got some popcorn, several bags of chips, and some ice cream sandwiches.
If you put
Also,
Ross,
we could toast some. I got some dope bread. We could toast it in the new toaster and make peanut butter and jellies that are better than just regular peanut butter and jellies without toasted bread. That'd be tight.
Ross is cooking up the Griswold family turkey.
The blessing. The
Grace?
blessing.
No, Grace died 10 years ago.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Can we do that as a watch party on Twitch? We have to.
I hope
That
it's
is-
on. If it's on Amazon, we are.
Prime, we have to.
Then we have to,
That
yeah.
is an all-time. God, that movie. I just want to quote that movie for the rest of this show now.
So stuffing is my number one.
Okay,
My
fair.
number 2 is a very difficult battle between mashed potatoes with brown gravy and macaroni and cheese. It's a very, very difficult battle that I'm going to have to give to mashed potatoes with brown gravy.
Okay.
And it's because I get mac and cheese on the reg. Like,
Okay, fair.
from different sources.
Sure.
I'm a big mac and cheese fan.
Give me the breakdown of your Thanksgiving mac and cheese, though.
It typically is like, again, it's the most badass version of everything you have, right? So like the mac and cheese will have like bacon on it or some
Oh,
shit one
shit,
year, or
wow.
like, bacon bits on it or whatever. But sometimes it's just been straight up like mac and cheese with a creamier type of cheese,
Okay.
like a fancier mac and cheese than normal. And people have all these family recipes for mac and cheese that I've experienced from different aunts and uncles and shit. And I'm pretty sure that there's just one on my dad's side that straight up everybody uses, and then different ones on my mom's side. So it just depends. And that's kind of the fun thing with it as a guy who's not part of the preparation, cooking, and or helping in any way, shape, or form, is that I don't know what's coming.
Yeah, you just get something random every time.
Like, I know all these foods are going to be there, but what version of them, like, I'm not quite sure.
So you get like a little bit of a different Thanksgiving every year.
Sometimes.
A little variation
Sometimes.
in
This
there.
year, I'm not even going home. I'm staying here. I'm going to be doing it with a girlfriend.
So you're getting
Completely
the
different
PB&Js
families.
and-
Thanksgiving is going to be an interesting situation. Like, what if they don't have some of my top 5? Do I freak out?
What if they? It's just nothing that you like at all.
What if they have what I just said? Like, they just bust out the cereal and they're like, "Deal with it, clown." We heard that. We listened to the podcast. You weren't going to bring anything. You can't even prepare. Help.
You show you show up and they're expecting you to like bring the entire dinner, and there's just you guys end up like ordering McDonald's on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
Like
Number
ordering
two.
Cane's.
Number two, mashed potatoes with brown gravy. Brown gravy, very specific. I don't want your light gravy. Give me the brown gravy. And then mac and cheese would be number three. I'm a big fan of that. Now, here's a curveball that some of you might be thinking, what? Shrimp cocktail, number four.
Saw that in there.
Shrimp cocktail. I don't even know if this is a thing that a lot of people have on Thanksgiving, but
I
my
don't know if it is
grandma
either.
loves this shit, and I think she only loves it because I'm a crackhead for shrimp cocktail.
Really?
So it's like she might have got one year when I was a little kid.
And
Because here's what I noticed: nobody else is eating it.
Okay.
It's mostly me,
Sure.
and it's just a big ass bowl with a fuck ton of shrimp on the rim, and then there's a red sauce, and I don't know what the red sauce is, cocktail sauce. You just clown it. You just fucking shrimp it up, dude. Get yourself some iodine poisoning. That's what I come out of there with.
I'm now imagining like your grandma behind closed doors yelling at your cousins for forgetting the shrimp cocktail because little Rossi is going to be so mad.
Dude, at one point it got like my grandma was like, I'm fucking old. Like, grandpa's passed away. Y'all are all old now. Fuck y'all. I'm getting this shit catered. And it was even better than before. Like, no offense to the cooking. But we showed up one year, and there was a straight up server there to serve us food, and then there was like 15 catered boxes of stuff. And here's the reason it was. When I say better, I don't mean the taste of the food. The homemade stuff I'm always going to go for over the catered stuff, no matter what.
Well, anytime somebody's serving you
But there
on
was a
Thanksgiving.
larger variety
because
because she didn't have to cook all this stuff. And again, not putting this on her. Fuck, she went way many more years than we told her to. We kept being like, please stop. And she kept going. But that was tight. And then I didn't like the server aspect of it, though. That was fucking weird. I think I talked about it on the show when this happened like 3 years ago. But it was like, I'm trying to, listen, I'll get my own food. I'll put my own plate up. And I'm not sure who you are. And this is Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be just our family. Who the hell is this? Just confusing. I'm going to be that guy this year. But anyway.
It's Jeff. He's
4
going to be hanging out with us today.
is a shrimp cocktail, man, because I'm a big fan of seafood. I don't get to
Cocktail
have
sauce
shrimp
too,
very
right?
often, and I love the cocktail sauce. I'm a big fan of
Okay.
cocktail sauce.
Hot? Really hot? Mild? Medium?
It's usually cold.
I meant spice level. on the cocktail sauce.
Yeah, it's spicy, you know. Like, it's got a little bite. A little bite to it, though, you know.
It's usually cold.
It's got a little bite to it, though. Like, you want it to be
yeah.
not spicy, but like you want it to have a little kick.
Of
like,
course,
a little
of course.
kick to
Like
make
a
you just
horseradishy
"Ooh."
kick, you know?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Clears the
That's
nose
what
out.
it is. It's a
Yeah.
horseradish in there, huh?
Yeah, that's what you use.
Oh, yeah, Chef Cole's over here. He knows all the ingredients. And then my
Dude,
number 5 is another strange one. It's fruit salad.
Incredible. Fruit salad.
Fruit salad.
Really?
My grandma makes this incredible fruit salad that's like, I don't really know what fruit salad is. It's just a whole bunch of fruits, but I guess that sauce is like the result of all the fruits mixed together.
So that's what I was going to ask. Does fruit salad have, because we're not a fruit salad
Or do
fan,
they add-
does it have a sauce, or is it just the natural sugars of the fruits?
There's a lot of sauciness to it.
Okay.
So but I can't tell if that sauciness is the result of all these fruits being mixed together and then slapped in a bowl.
Okay.
Or if there's a sauce applied after the fact.
Sure.
But this is the other one that, like, I'm not even sure anybody else was really in on this in my family, if it was just me. And it's because, like, I'm not an anti-fruit and vegetable guy, but, like, come on, I'm a dumbass just like a lot of y'all. Like, I don't necessarily lean toward eating healthy stuff. If it's the tastier stuff that I go for, and you know, I'm the kind of person that being taught fruits and vegetables were good for you growing up, and being taught cigarettes were bad for you. I went for the cigarettes, and it's the do you tell me to do this, I'm gonna do the opposite type of thing, right? For whatever reason, fruit salad wiped that rule book. I was just like, this is delicious. I think it's like probably a disturbingly unhealthy amount of sugar, if I had to guess. But Thanksgiving's not about being healthy. It's about celebrating potential health.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always a elastic waistband guy on Thanksgiving.
I wish I could say that I was confident I still have that ability, but I think I've Bill Chungus'd my stomach away too much to be like, enjoy Thanksgiving with your fat self guy.
See, but that's okay. I've been there before. Last Thanksgiving,
Yeah. You were skinny boy.
yeah, I was skinny boy, and like I barely like my plate was like one plate, and that was it.
It's sad
And
being
then I was
skinny
like,
boy
I'm done.
Thanksgiving is weak, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. You get full after like half of your plate, and you're just like, well, now what?
Have you ever seen a really healthy like fitness or a family member going through like a fitness freak phase, and they just like make Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever into an abomination by eating like a very healthy, normal.
Yeah, they eat like a Caesar
helping.
salad with like, or not even Caesar. They just eat like lettuce with grilled chicken or something like that.
You go to take a piss and open the bathroom door, and they're in there doing crunches, and you're like, "What the fuck, Uncle
What
Greg?"
are you doing? I don't really have that big of a family, but I can imagine what that's
I've
like.
never had one of those. My
Oh.
family, we don't fuck around with the fitness freak stuff.
Sure,
really.
sure.
We're
Well,
just
now
trying
you
to,
are.
we're just
You're
trying to get it in.
Midst RossFit, you're gonna be in there doing crunches and
Yeah, that's only because I drove my heart to like the verge of exploding. Though I had to do something.
you got to come back.
For the
Gotta
other
come
one, for
back
the
from
ones
that.
that haven't, inhaled quite so much amphetamines over the years, I think they're okay.
Sure.
I
sure.
needed to pull out though. I had to pull out.
Yeah, it was getting too deep.
Yeah.
So I see on your list also you have ham.
Ham
which
is
interesting.
Ham is my preferred meat on Thanksgiving.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not a ham guy, like at all.
I'm not either. Turkey is so damn bland. Like, give me the ham.
See, okay, I'll get to my turkey when I talk about my list.
Okay.
But I think there was a time in my life where I was anti-turkey on Thanksgiving because I had only ever had bland
Dry
Thanksgiving turkey.
Bland dry turkey with a lack of dressing. Maybe you didn't know where the
Yes.
dressing was or when to pour it or how it worked. Yeah,
Yep.
I've been
And then my mind was blown the first time that I had a well-seasoned smoked turkey, and it's just been uphill ever since. Honestly, my years just keep getting better and better ever since.
there. That's huge for you.
Yeah, honestly, it's been life-changing.
So get into your 5.
Okay, I didn't know if you had finished your list.
No, I'm done with my list. That's
All right.
that's my top 5, and then I'm gonna as you do yours, I'll throw in some others that were honorable mentions for me, basically. So go
Sure.
ahead. Your favorite Thanksgiving dishes.
So, kind of lame, but my number one is also stuffing. But, you just can't beat stuffing. It's just so good. And so, the stuffing that we get, so we've been doing Thanksgiving with this family, the same family that lives 20 minutes north of us every year. And, because we have a really small family, so we only have, my 2 grandparents on my dad's side, my 1 nana on my mom's side, and then me and my sister. I don't have any cousins or anything like that. And then my uncle on my mom's side, he'll come sometimes, but most of the time he goes to his girlfriend's Thanksgiving. So a lot of times it's just a small little family, and they have a 4-person family as well. So we'll have a joint family Thanksgiving dinner. And it's a lot of fun because they're fantastic chefs as well. But Mr. Clark, he makes the stuffing every year. And it's breadcrumbs with sausage and celery, and it's well seasoned, cooked in a cast iron pan. So some of the breadcrumbs are really crispy, but some are nice and soft. And you pour the gravy on top of it. Oh God, it's literally so good.
So
My mouth is watering right now.
I think the stuffing I end up inhaling is I think it's cornbread stuffing, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. But you can get, there's herb and apple stuffing, sweet potato and sausage stuffing, apricot wild rice stuffing,
Wow.
everything bagel stuffing, apple and sausage. There's just a million different kinds, it turns out.
Huh. Well, this stuffing is fantastic.
Cauliflower,
I feel
pineapple, keto. You can stuffing fucking anything. But it looks like the one that I'm looking at, and I'm like, this one looks like what I eat. It is cornbread,
cornbread stuffing.
I
That's
think.
probably the one that I have too. Then actually, nah, it's definitely not cornbread if I'm being honest.
Because this is some crumbly, delicious looking, I'm getting really hungry now, too. And because it's lunchtime.
Imagine mine's little croutons. Imagine little croutons with sausage and celery and
Okay.
savory sauce and savory, seasoning and shit like that.
I'm imagining.
So good.
Okay, so what's your
Number
two?
2, baked mac and cheese. Specifically baked mac and cheese with the spirally noodles, the ones that are tubes, but also spiraled kind of,
Okay.
curled, spiraled a little bit.
Okay.
And it's with the yellow cheese, where they go heavy yellow cheese on top.
The Velveeta?
Pop it in the oven. Not Velveeta. Not the creamy cheese. The stringier, cheddar, American type cheese. Oh, yeah. Pop it in the oven so the top is real crispy, gets nice and crispy. And then you just scoop it out so you have a little bit of the crispy on top, nice and creamy on the bottom, nice and stringy. Oh, my God. So good. We would go up to my distant relatives, my second cousins and their parents, etc., up in the mountains. They make the best baked mac and cheese. So fucking good. Third, sweet potato casserole with
Not a sweet potato guy.
the
Don't know why.
candied pecans on top, not the marshmallows.
See, but that sounds like something I'm really, really in for. I just don't think my family ever really did much of that.
The marshmallows are too much for me.
I was off put by the really the really sweet things with the word candy in them.
Yeah.
I for whatever reason I was I was not really a dessert guy growing up
Sure.
that much. I think all the birthday parties with the cakes and shit, like cupcakes, at some point I was
Me
just like,
neither.
enough of this shit. Fuck, man.
Never was a cake guy. Like every
really
birthday
wasn't.
that I had, I either had just like ice cream
I had a lot of cookie cakes.
or cookie cake. Me too.
Yeah, and now I'm a dessert guy, and because it's like I don't drink, so there's not like a ton of sugar coming into me all the
Yeah,
time,
sure,
right?
sure.
So like, I mean, and well, at least compared to the way I used to live when I drank a lot of sugary shit,
Of course.
and so I feel like it's where I get my sugar fix is with desserts.
Absolutely.
And so now I'm exploring this world of desserts, and I'm more open to things like candied yams and whatever the fuck all these weird people make with all their I don't know what these things entail,
I used to hate
but I'll
it.
put them in my body.
And I was like scared of it because it was like a dessert style dish that people ate with their main course on Thanksgiving.
Which I'm like, what?
Which I was, yeah, exactly.
that
Because
never
I always
really
had,
vibed to me.
never
I don't-
vibe with me either.
Yeah,
and then
I
when
don't
I was
know
like,
why.
I don't know, when I was like 17 or 18, that's when I really started to enjoy it. And the sweet potatoes are just like, they're really, really, mixed up. So it's very, very soft, like mashed sweet potatoes. And then it's just got pecans with like a slight sugary glaze on top of it. So it's really crunchy on top with a nice soft sweet potatoes underneath. Excellent. Heaven.
Oh my god, it's so
Jason
good.
Bourne.
All right,
Yeah,
what
no,
else?
it's so fucking good.
Sweet potatoes. Wait, what was it specifically?
Sweet potato casserole.
Sweet potato
With
casserole.
Pecans on top, not marshmallows.
Mm,
So good. Then
yum yums.
after that, it's got to be mashed potatoes. Again with brown gravy. Also, my Mr. Clark, the guy that I was just talking about that we go to have Thanksgiving with their family, he makes a homemade mushroom gravy that is to die for.
I love
Absolutely
mushrooms,
excellent.
man. I'm a big fan. I'm like Thanksgiving is a holiday where I think there's a bowl of mushrooms out oftentimes at my grandma's, and I'm just popping mushrooms in my mouth, and they're the full fucking like plump like. Oh, they're good.
Raw?
They're good. No, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
sure.
I just don't know. All right, what's
I
next?
love the naivety that you just like
Yeah,
you find
just,
something
like-
you like and you're just like, fuck it, I don't care how it got here. I like this.
I also want to add, it's funny, Thanksgiving, like it's the holiday where your plate, everything needs to touch each other. Like
Yeah.
you have a full plate, and all the flavor of all this different stuff we're discussing, it kind of runs together, right? And
It's
you get
themed.
like you're gonna get bites of like stuffing that maybe you get a little smidgen of some of the whatever sweet dish we
Sweet
were just
potato
talking
casserole.
about.
That's a crazy thing. One bite of stuffing, I might have some with some of that shiitake gravy on it.
Yeah.
And then the very next bite, I get a little sweet potato. The very next bite, it's only stuffing. I
And we're
basically just had 3 different dishes.
And
in
we're
3
talking about all
bites.
these dishes where like there's so much variety to them, right? Like a baked mac and cheese for one family versus another can be a completely different animal. And it's just
100%.
like there's excitement in that for me. The surprise. All right, what do
100%.
you have? 2 left or 1?
That's really the only reason I want to get married or anything like that is just so I can experience other Thanksgiving and Christmas dishes.
Yeah, that's the only reason I stayed married, to just experience as many different weird Thanksgivings as I could, and then I felt like I'd tapped out, and that was it.
It only took 4 years.
Yeah, that was it. That was all the Thanksgivings I could handle in D-Town.
And then to round it up, I'll do a dessert for my final one.
That's
Pecan pie.
It's a respectable move. The fact that we haven't really discussed desserts much is upsetting.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie. Question was thrown my way of like, what's your favorite pie? And I said apple pie with ice cream. I like to have a little vanilla ice cream with my hot apple pie. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, man, honestly, that's only because of experience. I've had mostly apple. That's the thing I've had the most. I have never had a pie where I was like, you know what, this isn't incredible.
Sure.
Ever. Like just hit me with a pie. And
I'm
if
not-
you suck at making pies, in which case, nobody does it. Nobody bakes and sucks at it, right? You wouldn't have somebody bring a pie that sucks. You know it's going to be good. Pie, very reliable dessert.
Not gonna lie, I am not a sweet potato pie guy at all. Sweet potato pie is just not my thing.
I'm sure there
Every
are some
time I've had
pies I
it-
wouldn't love. Okay, I'm like a meat pie or something. I'm not. I'd love that too.
Well, shepherd's pie is fantastic.
I had
It's kind of
shepherd's
a
pie
meat
like
pie.
2 days ago. Man.
So good.
Oh, shepherd's pie. Yeah, I love a good.
But I mean, it's not to knock the apple pie though. The apple pie is excellent.
What is the panned pot pie you make in the microwave?
Like Marie Curie chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie. I'm a big chicken pot pie guy.
I used to take those to lunch at school all the time.
Chicken pot pie, and I don't care. That's not how that goes. at all.
I have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
ate a lot of chicken pot pies, though, Coles.
They're great. Texas Pete in them?
Don't know.
You got to throw some Texas Pete in there.
What's Texas Pete?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You really don't know what Texas Pete is?
No, but
You've never
which is
heard of Texas
concerning
Pete.
considering it has Texas in it, and I've been here my whole life. Oh, this is a hot sauce?
Yeah, it's like the most famous hot sauce I know of.
Texas Pete. I'm a Cholula guy. You know? Brand loyalty.
Yeah, but like the fact that you've never even heard of Texas Pete is like very shocking to me.
Texas
Like
Pete.
genuinely very shocking.
Odds I've heard of it are high, but my brain doesn't retain hot sauce info much. It's just
Oh,
a
sure.
fact that I've come to have to accept.
Come to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can accept that. I can accept that. But yeah, turkey. I mean, I like I said, that smoked turkey with skin on, gravy on top. Love it. Could I do without it or substitute a different meat every single year? To be honest, yes. But Thanksgiving leftovers, open-faced turkey sandwich on bunny bread with gravy. Oh, that's heaven on earth.
Oh, it's good stuff.
That's heaven on earth.
That is very
Thanksgiving
good stuff.
leftovers may be the best part of Thanksgiving.
Very stoked about it. Looking forward to the food, looking forward to the leftovers, looking forward to the sports, which brings us to our next sponsor. RBP 352 is also brought to you by our sports betting sponsor, MyBookie.ag. If sports come up, MyBookie.ag comes with it, baby. And with the holidays upon us, we come together to celebrate the traditions as old as time. Turkey dinners, NFL games on the slate, and the return of MyBookie's Turkey Day free play. It is back this week only. Sign up on MyBookie.ag. Use the code RBP when you deposit, and your first deposit will be matched halfway. You'll receive a $250 risk-free bet on the Texans-Lions full game spread. How does it work? You make your deposit, place a bet on the early game spread, and if you win, and that's cash in your pocket. But if your bet goes sideways, don't even sweat it because they've got you covered with a refund of up to $250 on your wager, credited directly to your MyBookie account. Celebrate Turkey Day the MyBookie way. Use the promo code RBP to claim your deposit bonus all the way up to $1,000 and grab your $250 risk-free bet. That's promo code RBP to claim your deposit bonus in the bet. If you've been on the fence about playing on MyBookie.ag, do not miss out on this opportunity this Turkey Day, and you'll want to get in early because the following day, MyBookie is cranking up the heat. The day after Thanksgiving with a boosted odds Black Friday special. Log in every hour for a new deal from 10 a.m. Eastern Time to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The value just keeps on coming, and the players keep on winning. That's why they call football season winning season at MyBookie.ag. Check it out now. No risk, all gravy, baby. MyBookie.ag, code RBP. Next segment.
Grab your light. This is Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stop the Wikipedia when you're
Today's Stuff to Wikipedia when you're high is World War II's Thanksgiving in Westminster. It's actually not on Wikipedia where I pulled this particular version of this story from. I pulled it from Life magazine, and here's the thing. The photos are probably the coolest element of the story, so I want you to pull up the photos from Life magazine. Just Google World War II's Thanksgiving in Westminster and click on the Life link, and you'll be, and then you'll scroll down, and all the photos are there.
They're genuinely, like, one of the great things about black and white photography from the 40s to like the 70s is that the film had reached a point where the photography quality is like very, very good if you're a good photographer. And these pictures are beautiful. Like it's incredible to think about what it was like being there. But yeah, like well,
let me read this thing quickly.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss sort of what happened here. So Thanksgiving is a call to home. This again from Life. Thanksgiving is a call to home that not everyone is in a position to answer. That's true for many people for a variety of circumstances, distance, personal health, family strife, and is certainly true for men and women serving in the military overseas or far from home. So it was in November of 1942 for the U.S. soldiers who had been sent to Europe to beat back the forces of fascism during World War II. England showed its appreciation to its American allies by opening Westminster Abbey for a Thanksgiving service. This was an unprecedented gesture. Founded in 960 AD by Benedictine monks and since the 1500s home to the Church of England, Westminster Abbey has been the site of numerous coronations and royal weddings, but it had never hosted a secular service until that day. A reported 3,500 soldiers filled the room, and the service included performances of the Star-Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful. All those photos you're looking at show both the Westminster service and a feast afterward held at an Air Force station and shared with local children all around England on that day. Americans and their British hosts shared holiday celebrations. The irony is obvious, as the original Thanksgiving had its seed with pilgrims who had crossed the Atlantic to get away from England. But with the world at war, the Americans and the British fighting side by side, a spirit was kindled and embraced. This Thanksgiving, November 26, 1942, showed how the holiday's meaning can expand to accommodate all kinds of gratitude and bring all kinds of people together. And that concept, that is Thanksgiving.
That's what we're looking for.
That is what the holiday is about to me. It's not about historical context for me. It's about, and again, for me, I realize it's not the case for everyone, but for me, it's about that humanity that can be shown from human to human, the ability to take care of each other, to nurture each other, to keep each other safe, and to celebrate that ability and then the success of it throughout the course of the year. And to, again, reflect back on all the things that you've experienced over the course of that calendar year. Thanksgiving for me is that sort of checkpoint where I stop and really consider what I am most thankful for, which is going to take us into our next segment. But first, RBP 352 is also brought to you by Headspace. Life can be stressful even under normal circumstances, and 2020 has challenged even the most difficult times of life. You need stress relief that goes beyond quick fixes. That is where Headspace comes in. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. I know a ton of y'all have heard about Headspace, and you're very excited to have them on board. Excuse me. Obviously, we have been looking to get more and more mental health and wellness services involved in our sponsorships, and Headspace is a big, big get for us. We're very excited. They're the only meditation app, one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So whatever the situation, Headspace really can help you feel better. They have a 3-minute SOS meditation for you if you're feeling overwhelmed. If you need some help falling asleep, they have a wind-down session their members swear by. For parents, Headspace has even morning meditations you can do with your kids to prepare and get ready for the day. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, increase your overall sense of well-being. This is an incredible service that I have not only experienced with myself, but that I know a lot of people in the mental health field and in our community of the RBP gang that have used and spoken very highly of to me personally. They're backed by 25 published studies on their benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, over 60 million downloads. Headspace makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. So go to headspace.com/Ross for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/Ross today for a free 1-month trial with access to all of their meditations for every situation at Headspace. And that should get you through the holidays. Next segment. Thanksgiving dishes no one makes anymore. So we mentioned the turducken earlier. I think this was one of the things that was possibly on this list, correct?
It was.
And Christopher had found an article with several of these Thanksgiving dishes that at one point were prominent, apparently.
Yes.
That no one makes anymore, and he kind of wanted to talk on some of them and ask me about some of them, so do your thing.
So a couple of them have some interesting names and are some very interesting dishes. So I thought it would be kind of funny if I just throw them out there, and as soon as I say the name, you respond with what you think it might be, all right?
Deal.
All right. So we'll start with the first one.
Okay.
This one is called Turkey Aspic. A-S-P-I-C.
That is a turkey covered in frozen asparagus.
Okay. Honestly, not that far off. It's a turkey that is frozen with gelatin and other vegetables.
Are there any asparagus involved?
Asparagus could be involved.
Or just aspis, I don't know, aspic.
Okay.
Aspics.
Aspics.
Aspis? Aspis.
No wonder they don't make it anymore.
I still make that often.
Yeah, wow. Whew. Somebody, a YouTuber recently tried it saying, I'm not going to say it's horrible. I'll probably not eat this again, but it's not the worst thing I've ever had.
Okay.
It looks pretty fucking terrible.
It's not the review you want for your dish, that it's not the worst thing I've ever had.
Imagine, so the picture that was supplied, imagine this, right? Imagine a block of ice with shredded turkey in it and other vegetables as well.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's, who knew? Who knows? I don't know.
That's not shocking. That one faded.
The next one was the turducken.
Okay,
but
so that's
we'll
the
skip that
turkey
one.
duck chicken.
Turkey duck
that
chicken.
We've gone deep into
You
this
know what
already.
made the
Very
turducken
deep.
famous, though?
Hmm.
John Madden ate it on the 1987 New Orleans Saints game.
Well, of course, it was John Madden.
Yeah, he
who
was
brought
just
the
eating
turducken up there.
He was
And,
like, hey, guys, look, turducken. First published in a 1987 cookbook.
man, that's weird. Now I can hear Madden's voice saying turducken in my head.
I can't. I wish I had that gift.
Well, he was before your time, really.
Yeah,
John
all
Madden.
I got were, like, the Madden games.
Yeah.
All right, next. Cranberry surprise.
Okay, that's a small fouling stuffed with cranberry and roasted potatoes.
Okay, not bad, not even close, but not bad. I like where your head's at there. It was invented by Hellman's Mayonnaise, okay? And Hellman Mayonnaise...
Now I'm in.
Yeah, right?
Frankly.
It was part of their vintage recipe to celebrate its 100th year, and one of the delicacies was called the cranberry surprise, which was a dish
It sounds like
that
a sex
so
move, though. It does.
blends the tartness of the cranberries with the delicate creaminess of Hellman's Mayonnaise, as well as a nice garnish of mayonnaise on top to finish off the dish. Imagine if cranberry sauce
You can garnish something with mayonnaise?
was filled with deer pellets and then somebody like jacked off on top of it. That's what the dish looked like. Just to let you know.
Cranberry surprise.
That's the cranberry
And
surprise.
then it was called that, and then it didn't last long as a result. Because, frankly, naming a food anything with the word surprise involved
Never good branding.
isn't a good idea.
No.
Hellman's Mayonnaise.
Like meat surprise day at school lunches, how did that last longer than like a day? How was that a thing?
Fucking love mayonnaise, though, man.
Really?
Oh, my God.
I only like it on sandwiches. You see it with my French fries. But
Yes,
then-
I mean on sandwiches only.
Okay.
But, like, I really like it on
I really like it on
sandwiches.
sandwiches. Jimmy John's mayonnaise, best mayonnaise there is.
I want to say I've had this conversation with Myrriah about, like, Canadians and mayonnaise, and I think she's a French fry with the mayonnaise person.
I don't know.
could
I
be
used to
just
like it,
completely,
but people just kept giving me,
Slandering her right now.
people just kept giving me like really weird looks when I would order mayonnaise with my side of fries.
Look, don't get me wrong. I'll dip the mayonnaise, dip the fries in the mayonnaise if that's what's there.
Sure.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
I just don't typically go out of my way
For it.
to get that experience. Yeah.
You used to do it really with Chick-fil-A fries mostly.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason,
Well, and
don't
those
know
are
why.
just good dipped in anything, man.
Yeah,
Human
that's
blood.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Blood?
Yeah.
Wow.
The blood of the
Okay.
innocent. Yeah.
And the last one we'll finish off with is the Scrapple.
The what?
Scrapple.
Okay. The scrapple.
SCRAPPLE.
That is a full male pig with the head attached, with the apple stuffed in his ass instead of mouth, and then his mouth is filled with mashed potatoes and brown gravy.
You're actually on the right path, except the only thing difference there is that the pig is blessed by the local witchin beforehand. Everything else was perfect.
They've just said it needs to be blessed first by a
Yeah.
witch.
No, it's actually
Wiccan?
it's actually an invention from the Pennsylvania Dutch. It's a farmhouse pate.
What's a pate?
No idea. And it's actually I'm pretty sure it's a dish that's a collection of other dishes. Like it's like a mix of different ingredients to create like a fried something. I don't know.
It looks like it's a sandwich.
Sandwich, sure.
Perfect pate.
But it is
what
it is
a
made with the
pate?
unpopular parts of a pig, which you're on path there.
It's a pasta, a pie, or a loaf consisting of a force meat that at least contains liver.
So
I don't
that's
know.
what this is.
That
Yeah, it's a
sounds
loaf. It
gnarly.
includes the head and organ meats, and
Oh,
depending
good.
on who's cooking, even the skin.
Oh,
The
that's
parts are
huge.
boiled with cornmeal and then pressed into a baked loaf, sliced, and served.
Huzzah!
Sounds delicious.
Good
Looks very
God.
nutritious.
Yeah, these are dishes that I didn't need. I'm glad they were canceled.
Yeah, cancel culture took these things hard.
Cancel culture. I wonder what it will aim its sights at next in terms of these Thanksgiving foods. I fear for the likes of fruit salad.
Yummy, yummy.
Some of the
you ever get the
sillier
Wiggles?
desserts. I worry about them too.
Does that reference even click with you at all? Fruit salad, yummy, yummy, from the Wiggles. Do you know who the Wiggles are?
I know who the Wiggles are, but only because you got really upset with me once about not knowing who the Wiggles are.
Me?
I'm pretty sure, like on stream or something. We talked about this.
Maybe.
I swear.
Okay.
But
maybe.
the Wiggles were
I'll believe you.
definitely not something that I experienced.
Well, they had a song that was a classic hit of my generation.
It was
Honestly,
an
top 10
Australian
hit.
music
Like some have
music
compared
group.
it to. They're Australian. Wow, didn't even know that. Actually, I probably did know that. But some have compared the hit to the likes of, some of Prince's tops or Michael Jackson's, like a Thriller type song. And it was called Fruit Salad, Yummy Yummy, in which it said, Fruit salad, yummy yummy. Fruit salad, yummy yummy.
That was it?
And that was it, yeah. I think there was more to it.
Hold on, I'm
That's all I
reading.
remember.
I got the lyrics up here.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to continue from where he left off. There's one more fruit salad, yummy, yummy, and then it's yummy, 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 fruit salad. Let's make some fruit salad today. Uh-huh. It's fun to do it the healthy way. Uh-huh. Take all the fruit that you want to eat. It's gonna be a fruit salad treat.
These guys are millionaires.
The first step, peel your bananas. The second step, toss in some grapes. The third step, chop up some apples, chop up some melons, and put them on your plate. This is fucked. Is this all it takes? Why are we doing a podcast? Why didn't we just make a stupid music group about stupid food for kids so that we could make 1 billion downloads?
We should have had this revelation when we talked about Blippi pivoting from shitting on people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Blippi pooped on his friend, for those who don't remember. It looks like they're worth about... Oh, the group's only original member is worth $20 million.
Yeah, for being a wiggle.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been making frat jokes. I should have been making little kid dish songs.
Yeah.
Last and final segment. Things to be thankful for in 2020. Obviously, for some of you, you're having trouble accumulating a list. So I have provided you with some easy fill-ins that apply for all of us. Number 1, and this is a recent one, a peaceful transition of power from this administration to the next in the United States. Huzzah! Huge. If you don't have a collective weight off your back at this point, you should. This is good. It's very, very good. Is there still a mildly disruptive presence of millions of upset Americans who think the election was defrauded? Yes. But are we going to actually move into the next presidency without a civil war? Also yes. Which is huge.
Big for us.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Also, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it turns out, the stonk market, big fan of this stabilization, as some have put it, which makes absolutely zero logical sense to me because it has reached an all-time high. An all-time high. It has never broken 30,000 points, and it did that today. We are in the midst of a global pandemic. But still, huzzah. I'm also, Cole's, thankful for comedians.
Sure.
Like Dave Chappelle, who we discussed recently, and all the goats like Dave, but also on social media. I don't mean just the big dogs who you see their specials on Netflix. Like all the comedians making jokes to get us all laughing and smiling through the shitstorm, and that even includes the meme lords. Shouts to them.
The meme lords have really been getting me through it recently.
They've been crushing.
They have been dominating.
There's just funny memes everywhere to be had.
Yeah, memes abroad, memes domestically,
And then finally,
memes everywhere.
we can be thankful for prescription drugs from which we will all emerge from this year deeply addicted and in desperate need of rehabilitation.
Okay.
In all seriousness, do not abuse prescription drugs right now. We have enough going on and enough much safer tools around us to manage all this pain. And another question, how do I invest in the rehabilitation industry? Because we're coming out of this fucked up. We came into it in the midst of the opioid crisis. It's likely that we will exit it in the midst of a
Vaccine
multiple...
crisis. People just injecting COVID vaccines.
I think it's going to be
all the
like
time, just-
antidepressants and opioids, and it's just a mess. Obviously, the mental health realm is going to be something that we all have to focus more on moving into the future. It's something that I think a lot of us realized, and obviously not me, considering my personal circumstances. It's something that I've had to cope with for a decade now, but for a lot of people, this is the first time they've had to grapple with mental health, with depression, with substance abuse, with addiction, with loneliness, with a lot of these aspects of life that people in the mental health community are more familiar with. They've become more commonplace and part of the mainstream. And so many people this year have found difficulty. It's been difficult to find happiness and light and levity in your day-to-day. So spend the rest of the week, your Thanksgiving with your friends, your family, or whether or not you even get to see your friends and family. Maybe you're like me and you're going to stay where you are, stay seated for whatever reason. That's cool too. Just do you, be safe.
Do you, boo-boo?
Wear your mask in public, respect the other humans, and take the time to actually stop and reflect on what this holiday means to you. And I hope it is not about the, if you're whitey at least, that it's not about the pretend fairy tale you learned when you were a little kid about the Native Americans and the Pilgrims getting it on and fucking in a pile of happiness and eating good food together, because that's not what happened. It should be about something that's actually contextually relevant to your life. And in my case, that is an ability to stop, look around, and focus on the things that actually matter, like my family and my friends and my work opportunities and all the blessings that I have as a human walking the earth. And that is how I plan on spending my time. I hope you will join me in that journey. That will do it for today's show, but before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations as a result of having listened to this entire podcast, the first of which is that you must rate and review. After you do that, you can check that box and move on to number 2, which is to share the show with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor. It can be any one living, breathing individual who has the ability to listen to the Ross Bolen podcast or watch it or whatever. Share the show with one person, and then check that box. And then move on to the third and final legal obligation, which is to support our sponsors who support us. This week we have 4. We got NuCalm. Go to rossnucalm.com. Of course, Axon. Go to taser.com. Promo code Ross. MyBookie.ag. Promo code RBP. And then, of course, Headspace.com/Ross. Get yourself some mindfulness in there on Headspace. Very excited to have all those sponsors on board. Appreciate each and every one of you who uses those codes and goes to those URLs to support our show, keep our sponsors coming back, and keep us in business. Those are your 3 legal obligations. Check all 3 boxes. I'll call off the dogs. We don't have to see each other in court, and we can all live long and prosper. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, where every day we fill up our story with photos and videos sent in by our listenership. We appreciate and love each and every one of y'all. We're also on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod and on Facebook.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. My name is Ross Bolen. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen. And on Snapchat, Chris and I collect most of those photos and videos that go into our RBP Instagram stories, so keep those coming. Send us pictures of your dogs, the nature trip you're on, your fucking bad license plate you see in your car, whatever. Keep them coming. We'll throw them up on Instagram every day, at WRBolen on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And then we are live a few times a week on twitch.tv/BossRollin for those of you interested in giving us a follow or subscribe on Twitch to see Coles and I live playing video games with podcast listeners a few times a week. Chris, where can everybody follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON.
Check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to RBP. If you love TV and movies and pop culture and Hollywood and entertainment, then you will love Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Hosted by myself and Mr. Barrett Dudley, brought to you by Bolen Media. Barrett's been one of my best friends for over 17 years. We thoroughly enjoyed doing this podcast together for many years now. It started out as a Game of Thrones show. Now it's general entertainment and television and film. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, wherever you listen to RBP. Go subscribe and enjoy. I'm currently watching The Undoing on HBO, which is phenomenal, and we will be discussing at length whenever I get caught up here on OCC, probably next week. So, got that to look forward to, and I highly recommend you watch it. That will do it for RBP 352, produced by Myrriah, Gossett, and Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We will be back on Monday with RBP 353, but of course this Friday, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, just like every Friday, we'll be on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast with another exclusive premium ad-free episode for dues-paying members of the RBP gang, pledging their monthly support to keep the show growing and showing. It's a minimum of just $5 monthly on Patreon. Come through, support the show, get more RBP. A solo Dolo Ross Patreon episode this week as Chris is headed home for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Travel safely this week for those of you that are. Tell everyone you encounter along the way, in the airport, on the bus, on your hike across country, or your Uber or whatever. Tell them all about RBP. Tell your whole family and all your friends. Tell them about the Ross Bolen Podcast. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. And make sure you take the time to stop and do some of the things we discussed today. Chris, enjoy your time with the family.
Thank you, sir.
Tell everybody in North Carolina I said hello.
Most definitely.
And we will be back Friday. Well, I'll be back Friday. We will be back next Monday.
Or Sunday, potentially.
Or Sunday on Twitch, potentially. Yeah. So until then, you are not alone. Podmen get paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Coles.
Strength. Wait.
He
That's
choked
the first
it.
time I choked it.
He choked it.
I was thinking in my head, stay soft.
Here,
I
I'll
wanted
lay
to
up
leave
the
it on,
I'll
like,
lay up
stay
the front end
soft.
to you, and
Yeah.
you dunk the back end.
I didn't.
I'll
dunk,
be
though.
Dwayne Wade this time.
I fucked. Oh.
I'll be Dwayne Wade this time.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Peace be with you.
And,
also with you.